guess who's on the phone with us? Can you hear us, John?
Hello, yes.
Awesome.
Hey, John, how are you doing?
I'm well. I'm calling from my car, and I've got it plugged into the little thing. So there's a mic somewhere, like in the steering wheel or something, which is what you're hearing me through, I think. But I don't really, it seems like they should be clearer about where they put the mic.
Well, you sound okay. You do sound like you're calling from a car, but we can still hear you, so that's awesome.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't know what that sounds like. And again, I don't know why it seems like in this day and age, phones should not be as horrible sounding as they are. But,
well, the smaller they get, the worse they sound. Do you mind if I do a little bit of a station business? I just got to do our top of the hour.
Please, pay the bills.
You're listening to the Independent Public Radio, the Maverick, KMSU Mankato, KMSK Austin, broadcasting from the campus of Minnesota State University Mankato. Big ideas, real world thinking. And are you guys rehearsing for your appearance on Live From Here tomorrow night?
You are so on top of it. In fact, if you could just call me and tell me what I'm doing every day, that would be super helpful.
I would love to do that.
Yes.
Tomorrow tomorrow you're gonna wake up and you're gonna sleep in. Then you're gonna cook like some Thai food, and then you're gonna go play that gig, and then you're gonna go to bed.
Sounds great.
You got an easy day tomorrow. But
cool.
You're on Live From Here tomorrow night. We're, of course, being from Minnesota, that's a show that is sometimes out in Minnesota, but now it's going to be more out in New York. But are you guys getting pretty excited about that?
We're totally psyched. Yeah, we're just we're playing songs that we theoretically know how to play, so it shouldn't be too challenging for us. But we've got about 10 other things we're trying to do right now. So this is just one of our jobs this week.
What are the 9 other things you're trying to do right now?
Well, we're doing a recording session next week, so we're getting several things together, including we're going to shoot a little video thing with probably just John and I and the drummer, and then we're going to get the whole band in the studio at the beginning of the week and record a bunch of new material. And it's just, and there's that, and remembering to sweep the leaves off the steps. It's like I can barely cope.
Well, I tell you what everybody's really excited about in our neck of the woods is that unless you're like ourselves, part of the Instant Fan Club, tickets just went on sale for the Minnesota show this morning. And so everybody's been buying up tickets all week long for you're playing at First Ave and at the Fitzgerald Theater.
We're all going to be at the Fitzgerald show.
Excellent. Great. I'm so looking forward to that. And may I just say, I love the fact that the name of the state, Minnesota, includes the opportunity to say something in a Minnesota accent.
Oh, it's perfect.
Wait a minute. Wait. We took bets on who was going to call us out on our Minnesota accents, and we all said it would be within 15 minutes of starting this morning. You're the first person to mention it. So you're the winner.
Bravo, you win.
Wait, I win? Hang on.
You win a They Might Be Playing, They Might Be Giants button. We'll send one to you.
Very good. Okay, excellent.
Well, we got a bunch of questions from listeners, and almost all of them say, when is Mink Car coming out on vinyl?
Wow, almost all of them.
Well, that's me because I submitted that like 100 times.
Right, stuffed about. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Sorry. I'm no good.
Okay.
I don't have the answer to that one.
But how excited are you that State Songs is getting a record store day release?
That's super cool, and I was very pleased to go back and review the recording and the artwork and everything, and it's super nice because it was so long ago that it's like somebody else did it. So you know what I'm saying? Like I kind of feel like I don't remember all the work that went into it, so now it's just the pleasure of enjoying it again.
Mm-hmm. And everybody asking you to... Oh, go
buckling
ahead.
my seatbelt. I'm about to start driving to the rehearsal space.
Oh.
I've been parked in front of my house, but I'm actually going to drive and talk.
Do you get one of those cars that you use for working on the streets that you're backing up with the beeps?
That is right. Yeah. I have a 2012 Prius for those who are interested.
All right.
Well, it's going to be a nice, quiet car then for us. We're not even going to hear it.
Exactly. That's why I'm driving this instead of any of my other fleet of cars. No, this is my only car, but it is quiet.
That's a good one. I've got one from a question from Amber Moore in Avoca, Iowa. There's so much amazing fan art of TMBG, and the band always has seemed to follow a well-curated design aesthetic. How do you tend to discover and select artists to work with the band formally?
Well, that is you can ask John Flansburgh that question. He is the former art student and art director of They Might Be Giants, and to him I cede all credit for art direction and every brilliant design idea that has ever come out of this project that's on his end.
Well, we have a question from Carrie in East Lansing, Michigan, wondering what role did formal music education have in your learning to songwrite, and did you ever consider teaching music yourself?
I did try and teach piano, and I was not very good at it. I mean, this was a long time ago, and I think I'm smarter now than I was then, but I just didn't know how to construct a lesson plan. So I was just throwing everything I could at this poor student, and I don't think he learned anything, sadly. But I did have a really good music teacher at Lincoln Sudbury Regional High School, this guy named Bill Rice, who was very generous, and he not only taught, he taught special class. He constructed a special class for me and another student who wanted to geek out on music theory, and he also allowed me to just go through the lockers and pick out band instruments and try them out. And he let me take stuff home. Like I took home my first bass clarinet from the high school locker, and he was just really generous and encouraging. So that was a big thing.
I tell you, if you ever want to get out of the touring business, you could probably do YouTube how to play the accordion lessons, and you would get a lot of followers.
I'm not so sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit like Harpo Marx in that I'm self-taught and therefore maybe not a good influence on other musicians.
I get you
because I didn't really learn any proper technique. Sorry, they haven't surfaced this road I'm driving on right now. It's a little rumbly. They've torn off the pavement, and now it's just this jaggedy. I don't know if you can hear that, but
not just a little bit. Not till you mentioned it, though. So it still sounds pretty good. Thank you, though. Do you guys get another question?
Well, Lou in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada says, "Careful What You Pack is such a great song. Whatever happened to the unused songs from the Coraline project? Were they ever repurposed for other projects, or are they still as yet unreleased?"
We haven't figured out what's. I mean, there's a few good songs in there, but I don't know. They're sort of specific to the movie Coraline, unfortunately. So I don't know what practical use we could make of them. We got lots of backloggy stuff. I kind of agree. Like, I think Careful What You Pack was the keeper of the bunch of them.
We had a request for that in the first hour.
Very good.
From a what did you say? No, we've had requests from our youngest requester so far today is a 2-year-old, and we've had a 4-year-old too. It was Lucinda and Cassie.
Is somebody feeding the 2-year-old questions, or are they actually
I know. Apparently, she's been dancing away all morning too. So.
Okay.
Might have been fed
All right.
a couple of questions.
Sorry to impugn the 2-year-old in a completely cavalier way. Like, maybe it's a very culturally informed 2-year-old. I'm sorry for questioning.
Well, William in Decatur, Georgia, is wondering, how did you first become interested in microtonal music used in songs like Dog, I Haven't Been Wrong Yet, and your House of Mayors EP?
Oh, well, so this is the story is that someone I know introduced me to the book Genesis of a Music by Mr. Harry Parch.
Oh, yeah.
And that was when John and it was when I was about 22. And I don't know why, but I devoured this book. And then I called up the Moog company in Rochester, New York, which is where they used to be. And I asked them how to turn my Moog synthesizer into a microtonal instrument. And there's somebody there, and I don't know who it was, but somebody wrote me this incredibly nice letter back, and with a schematic and all the, like, you know, where to buy all the parts at Radio Shack.
Wow.
To do this project, which I completely suck at electronic stuff, but I followed the instructions. I got the little, you know, like there was a little chip and some wires and some knobs and things, and I constructed this thing, and I pretty much blew up my synthesizer.
Oh, no.
More or less fried its innards by trying to make it into a microtonal electronic instrument. And but not before John Flansburgh wrote and recorded this great song called Heptone, which I don't think we've ever released. But that was the first microtonal thing we ever put out, or recorded, I guess, didn't put out. And that was, you know, way back in the early 80s sometime. Yeah, we should put Heptone out. That was a good song. And it used the now destroyed Moog synthesizer.
Well, I've got a question from I believe it's Matt in Lilburn, Georgia, and referring to a poll that fans just took on the Miscellaneous Tea Facebook group, who I want to do a shout out to. Those guys are great. Asking about what lesser played songs they would love to hear you play at a show. And the top 5 requested songs were Mrs. Train, that was number 1. Weep Day was number 2. 3 was Nightgown of the Sullen Moon. 4 was Now That I Have Everything. And 5 was Brain Problem Situation. He wants to know if you would ever consider adding those on to a playlist.
I would consider adding those onto a playlist if people would request songs from the past century. I feel slightly sad that all of people's favorite obscure TMBG songs are from 40 years ago. But
well, I tell you,
that sounded a little spiteful.
No, I get it. But because I told you we've got almost 400 requests. I think probably 75% of them are off of albums in the last 10 years.
Oh, good. Okay,
yeah.
Well, now you made me feel better.
Yeah,
well, I'll tell you what, we'll play all of them in that case. All of them.
Because it's been incredible. Because I you know, your kid. People think of They Might Be Giants. You have the hits, but then it's just over the years when we've been doing this, it was like the hits that we were playing, but now it's just like the last, because you guys have put out maybe 20 albums in the last 10 years, and so that's honestly what we're getting the most requests for. So I'm kind of surprised that some of that isn't in there. But out of those 5, is there one that you really would like to add on?
I don't know. We'd have to talk about, you know, every time somebody brings up a song that we haven't played in forever and that they think we should play, I have a little panic attack thinking of like, oh my God, how on earth are we going to ever play that song? How would we play that song? And would it just be awful? I don't know.
Well, we just had... we were just fortunate enough to have Bob Dylan come to town and play, and he did his entire set of songs that you know, but he didn't do any of them the way that he'd released them. They were all...
Yeah, well, yep.
So you could always do something like that.
Yeah, that's, I guess, famously, that's how Bob Dylan performs. We played a festival on a bill among a lot of other musicians, with Bob Dylan, and so we watched the show, and I don't know why someone's calling me on this line. That's weird. So we sat and watched the show, and it was like well into each song where we were like, oh, that's all along the Watchtower.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had some friends sitting behind us who are hardcore Dylan fans, so he was like the second it started, like, oh, that's Route Highway 61. So I could hear him saying it to his son because he's such a nerd about it. So, but I was kind of like, oh.
But also because it took that long to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, kind of related to playing songs live, we're all really excited about the Flood tour coming up. What kinds of things can we expect beyond hearing the songs from Flood? Do you want to give us any spoilers?
We will do our very best to put on a thrilling performance. What else?
I have never been to one of your shows that haven't been a thrilling performance.
Yeah, they're all great.
Oh, well, you guys are nice. I'm changing my live setup, which is I'm going to be trying, and this might be a catastrophe. So that's exciting because the whole thing could just be a disaster, which I know that people in our crowd love this kind of thing when everything goes horribly wrong. But I'm going to be trying to, instead of using my old keyboard, I'm going to be trying to use a computer playing all the sounds, which is, I'm totally dreading, this, because, as you know, computers can crash.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I'm doing that, but except I think it's maybe time to move on and change up my setup.
Because you like to live dangerously.
Yeah, I like to live dangerously. Do I? I don't know. Maybe I don't.
Do you have a backup plan, just in case?
Yes, I do. Currently, my current plan for you techie people out there is I'm going to use my old keyboard, but it will be the controller for the computer, which will theoretically do everything that the keyboard used to do. And then if something goes wrong, we can quickly plug in the keyboard, which will be theoretically doing the exact same thing that it's telling the computer to do. We'll see how that works.
Well, as folks who have tickets for later on, I think we'll be okay. You'll have it figured out by the time we see you.
We'll see. We'll see about that. Who knows? But there'll be some hilarious onstage banter about it if it all does go sideways, I'm sure.
Do you have a question, Chantel?
Sure. All right. So several of your best recent songs, including Let's Get This Over With and This Is Only Going to Go One Way, seem to be dealing with the theme of inevitability. What are your personal thoughts about fate versus free will?
Ooh. Wow. Well,
that was deep, huh?
Can we talk for like a
Let
4 or 5
me pull over.
hours about this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm going to crash the car now.
But did you? Did you have a choice?
I don't know. I feel like the point of a good song is to be, a good song, like to be a successful piece of songwriting, and in a way, it can be weighed down by too much complex philosophizing and stuff. So I mean, a lot of the songs reflect stuff that we're thinking about, or that the zeitgeist for us in some way. But I try not to get too deeply into trying to explain particle physics or anything in the song, because I think it can detract from the song itself. I think if it's trying to take on too much heavy lifting. But yeah, I don't know the answer. There's a really good podcast called In Our Time with the host, Melvin Bragg is the host, and he did a whole episode on free will, which you can look up and download.
What was the name of that podcast again? I kind of broke up when you said that.
It's called In Our Time.
In Our Time.
I think it's BBC hosted.
Okay.
And it's Melvin Bragg, who's this sort of culturati guy. Wow, what is a guy's whistling at me. I cut him off. There are all these guys on electric bikes in New York now, and they've become, it's like this total hazard when you're driving.
Oh, yeah.
They're going really fast, but they're on little bikes. And a guy actually smashed into me a few weeks ago, which was terrifying. But now you can hear I'm backing up again. entering a parking space.
All right. For anybody that's wondering, I just shared a link for the In Our Time podcast on the They Might Be Playing, They Might Be Giants Facebook page. So if you want to check that out, you can swing by there.
Yeah, it's for a lot of people, it's really good if you are having trouble sleeping and need to find something soporific.
Oh.
Because a lot of the discussions get so deep into it that you just pass out from excitement.
Can I ask you our favorite question that we love asking you every year? What books are you reading right now, or do you have any recommendations?
You know what? I knew you were going to ask me that.
I don't wait because you read the best books.
No, I don't. But I did think about it, and unfortunately, I'm sort of in the middle of multiple books because I'm not able to concentrate on any one thing. So
Shy Boy Tim just pointed at himself. He's the same
I have the
way.
same problem.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying because I get distracted from one book by another book, and then I don't finish either one. But so I'm in the middle of this Indian writer R.K. Narayan has written a sort of short, condensed, and has a version of the Mahabharata, which is the Indian epic. So it's pretty good. It's the Mahabharata itself runs to I think 1 bazillion pages or something like that.
Oh my goodness.
So he's just written a novel-length version of it, which tells the story of these two warring clans. But it's good if you're into that kind of thing. I'm enjoying it. I'm probably a little more than halfway through that. There's a cartoonist named Larry Gonick who's written a lot of. He wrote a cartoon history of the universe, and he's written a lot of cartoon guides to various things. And my son brought this to my attention. He wrote a book called what is it called? Hypercapitalism. So that's one of his, explanations in cartoon form of contemporary economics.
Oh boy!
So yeah,
that might be the best way to learn that.
Well, it's probably a really boring topic, so cartoon version is a good way to go. So I've actually read about half of that, and I enjoy his cartoons. They're good. He's written a million of those. They're really good, generally.
I've got a great question for you that's kind of selfish on my part, but
okay. Well, let me just finish. I've got one more book.
Awesome! Keep going.
Maybe I might have mentioned this last year. Michael Pollan, you know that guy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wrote this book about LSD, and it's called How to Change Your Mind.
Is that what inspired all the design for this year's posters?
That was
Tom?
the initial inspiration.
Yeah.
Yes, was talking about
you
microdosing
Tom.
last year. Yeah.
I think LSD is a hot topic this season, or maybe a year ago or something like that. Anyway, he's got a good take on it because he's sort of a skeptic, and he's not won over by the sort of new age claims about opening your third eye or seeing God or anything like that. But he just was curious about what psychically happens when you drop acid, or when you take hallucinogens or any of those sort of chemicals. And so he went on a little journey and did some exploring and wrote about it. And he's a good writer because he's just got a very dry approach to everything. He's willing to check out stuff, but he's not drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. That's
all right,
apt.
sorry, you were going to ask something.
No, I absolutely love hearing what you're reading. It's that, which is kind of a selfish question on my part too, because we're all big readers around here. But I was wondering, since you're somebody who performs a lot, goes out and tours, how realistic is it, my notion that if I learn all of the songs and I'm prepared to sing them, that if something happens on stage, you might say, is there anybody out there that knows the words to the song and could sing it?
Well, I'll tell you, it's getting increasingly likely year after year as my mental faculties continuously decline. There probably will come a day when we'll be calling on people to come up and finish the song for us because we just can't remember how it goes. Hopefully not this year, but someday soon, I think.
Well, you encourage me because there's a lot of songs I could sing along with, so we're good.
Okay.
I honestly feel like you have probably, and I'd like to mention this album one more time, Mink Car. I could sing backwards to forwards, and then.
Okay, well, if we ever do a backwards version,
or
you to come up and.
Or Flood. We were talking about how just that opening bit of Flood when it starts with "Why is the world a love again?" Everybody's just going to be like, it's going to be one big happy Mitch Miller sing along for that at the show. It's going to be fun.
Very good.
Unless you aren't planning on doing that one.
If you were to do a backwards
I think
album,
we literally cannot do a Flood show without playing that song.
Yeah.
if you were to do a backwards album, would there be secret hidden messages, and what would they be?
Well, they wouldn't be secret then.
They
would
wouldn't be secret. Okay.
Well, if you were parking, I imagine you were getting ready to go in to rehearse, correct?
No, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm actually. I get the feeling that we're not rehearsing for another half an hour. So.
Okay. Because I never wanted.
I'm just sitting here idling. I'm burning fuel, but not too much. In the cool. What's the weather like over there? It must be getting wintry.
We've actually had some really cold temperatures, but today we're up around 40. The other morning it was 1 degree, which was horrible. Well, we could ask more questions. Bruce Cole in Lewiston, M.E. Maine.
The former mayor of Lewiston had the same name as me, so I'm very familiar with John Linnell was the mayor of Lewiston at one time.
That's interesting.
That's great.
Yes. So ask me about Lewiston, Maine.
He wants to know if you guys have ever considered doing an album of just covers, whether a new set or a compilation, or some of the covers that you've done over the years. It seems like you kind of get into covers with dial-a-song songs, but never just a full album.
Again, I feel the rising panic when I'm considering what new things we're going to take on. But we'll definitely be doing more covers. I don't know what they'll be. I doubt we'd do an entire. I guess we did an EP of covers once, way back in the day, but we'd have to assemble more covers to get it together.
I don't see, because there's always that old line about bands when they don't know what to do and they can't come up with original stuff, which you guys have no problem doing. They do the Motown cover album. I don't foresee one of those in your guys's future at all. Although it'd be awesome.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think people would like that. Actually, I feel like it's. We're not the ones to do a Motown cover album.
No.
Put it that way.
Well, do we run out of questions for?
I've got one that came in.
Okay.
Andrew in Jacksonville, Florida asked, If you could send a message through time, what advice would you give to yourself in Flansburgh when you were just starting They Might Be Giants?
Oof. I thought you were going to say in the future.
Or that.
Like, old man. Yeah, the thing is, I don't know whether you can help. The thing is that people have to learn their own lessons, and I think that was probably true for us. Is like there was plenty of people willing to give good advice to us, and we I suppose we took some of it, but a lot of it had to do with making our own mistakes and making our own choices. So I think that yeah, and that sounds like a sort of evasive answer, but I feel like I barely know what to tell my son about, part of the problem is like he's faced with completely different issues and a different world than we were. So, you know what I mean? It's very hard to know how your own expertise can benefit somebody else. Well, of course, if we were giving ourselves advice, it would be very specific. Like, do not cross the street on 38th Street at 5:30 in the afternoon on the morning of the October blah blah. But aside from that, I don't know. Invest in this or that stock.
Well, I've got another question from Maine, from Kim in Owl's Head, Maine. What do you? Do you know Owl's Head too?
I have no story about Owl's Head.
Okay.
It's just a cool
Sorry.
name. What do you hope to do before you die?
Hope to do before I die.
Yeah, do you have a bucket list, I guess?
I don't know.
That's another big topic question.
What did your father do before he died? And the answer is he went, ugh.
Jeez.
Alrighty. Moving on.
I hope to go before I die.
Well, I'm curious because a lot of people have been asking too about flood dates. Are you planning on adding on any more flood dates? In particular, people are wondering about worldwide shows with that, or even shows out more to the west. Is this something that's going to expand?
We'll be. I'm not sure. Actually, I don't know what's been announced, but we are going to do more shows in the fall. I don't think those dates have been released yet, but yeah, we'll continue to be touring into the future, and not all of it will be flood shows, of course. But yeah, there's going to be more, and things are always subject to change. I'm sure that there's a possibility that we'll do some more flood shows sooner than that. But
can you hear everybody screaming in happiness from the West Coast? Because we can hear them from here.
Yeah. Looking forward to all the shows in the future with my crashing computer. Exciting.
I'm sure you'll work that out.
I should probably sign off, but I just want to thank you guys again for all the support, and we are deeply grateful that you're so misguided as to do a show like this.
Well, thank you for calling in. It's always great to talk to you.
Yeah, and if you have any connections in the continent of Africa, that is the last continent we are looking for. Still looking for a request from Africa.
Oh, because you guys got one from Antarctica, right?
Yep.
We did. Yep.
Yes, I remember that. That was weird.
So two years in a row we've gotten Antarctica requts.
That's insane. And yet none from Africa. That's surprising.
Well, last year we did, but this year we haven't yet. But we've still got time. Because last year we hit all 7 continents as well.
Right. Very good. That's great. Thank you again. You guys are terrific.
We'll have fun tomorrow, and we will be listening to the show.
Yes.
Yeah, and we look forward to seeing you at the Fitzgerald.
Me too. It's going to be fun. And you'll be hearing from Flans later this afternoon, I guess.
Yes.
Yes.
So Look forward to that. Okay,
All right.
great. Well, thanks again.
Thanks, John.
Thank you,
John.
John. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Have a great practice.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye now.
All right, everybody.
Ooh, we made it. We
Wow.
did it.
I don't know why, but I get more nervous about John Linnell than John Flansburgh, and they're perfectly friendly people. But I think it's just
they're
I think
very
it's just me. And I love hearing what books John Linnell's
I do
reading.
too.
Now I want to read that book about